In my decade of experience in outsourcing, one of the most common roles that people hire for is for project management or hiring project managers. And in the most casual way, what are project managers? These are people that just get stuff done. That is their job. These are the people who make sure that everything is going the way that it's supposed to go. People are happy, things are efficient, things are within budget, and of course, things are getting done at the time that you expect them to get done. So this is basically like a very, very skilled mother of a company or a very, very skilled father that just gets stuff together. So by definition, project management is the process of planning, organizing, and managing resources to arrive at a certain goal. So a lot of companies will hire people of different experiences, different backgrounds, different expertise. And even though they're super good at what they do, the skills that someone has in terms of thinking about efficiency, being on budget, being within the time frame, sometimes that is not the priority of these experts. I mean, I know that myself. I've been a copywriter for many years, and let me tell you, I wasn't always on schedule in terms of delivering my copy. And this task actually gets a little bit more challenging if someone is dealing with creative. So that is another layer of challenge that these people undergo. So another quick tidbit is that in the United States of America, according to Glassdoor.com, the average salary for a project manager is around 104,000 US dollars. But if you outsource to great countries like Philippines, where they speak amazing English, just like me, I grew up in the Philippines, by the way, and they are just as good managers, they are hardworking, they make sure that everything gets done, and basically you're getting the same amount of skills. The typical rate for a talented project manager is just under $30,000. So in my company, the yearly salary for a project manager is just around $28,000. So with that alone, that is just a quarter of what it would typically cost in America. And that is why a lot of businesses are now opening up their doors to talent from countries like the Philippines, India, Eastern Europe, and even in Latin America. And a lot of these outsourcing companies also hire and place project managers that can work in different time zones. In my company alone, over 80% of our teammates work in the US and Canada time zone, despite the fact that the Philippines is 12 to 14 hours ahead in terms of time zone. It's not really a problem. There's a huge number of graveyard workers in the Philippines when the outsourcing industry blew up in the early 2000s, because there was a lot of really, really big US companies that outsource their customer support work in the Philippines. So project management. So project management is important because it highlights the importance of the efficiency of how things get done, the timeliness of how things get done, and number 3 would be the quality of how these things get done. In my company, in Proximity Outsourcing, project managers, they have success metrics that circle around those 3 things. So that's efficiency, timeliness, and quality of the output. So those are the top 3 things that project managers really have to pay attention to. So these are the people that really contribute a lot to how clean your operations is and how much, like how well you implement certain processes in your business. And typically when a business owner hires a really talented project manager, it frees up their headspace to go out there and get more clients, to market more, to network, maybe even to take a vacation. Because to manage different people, different deadlines, different deliverables, that is a very different task. And that might not be a skill that is specifically owned by the entrepreneur or the business owner, the person who started the business. And in fact, let me tell you, it is probably the opposite of a lot of the top skills of an entrepreneur or the founder. A lot of founders are really good problem solvers, but most of them are good at marketing, or they're good at vision and invention. And in terms of like getting the work done and like rolling up your sleeves, managing different people, because project management, even though it's getting stuff done, it is also doing this with people. So it is largely a people task as well. You have to be a chameleon in terms of like, what is someone's motivation and what is someone's intention in doing this? And if there's a problem and they're complaining about their teammate, you should be the one to fix this issue. So it is a very special skill, and it's actually a skill that I haven't seen done very effectively in a lot of entrepreneurs that I meet, including myself. So I'm not talking ish about other entrepreneurs. I'm including myself in that conversation. There are 5 stages to project management. Number 1 is the initiation phase, where you hire everyone who needs to perform a certain role or deliver a certain thing. And then number 2 would be the planning phase. This is where you look at the cost of everything, where you look at your budget, you look at the resources that are available, you look at your time budget, you look at your schedule. If you have outsourced teams from different time zones, there might be extra work that needs to be done in this phase. Number 3 would be the execution. This is when the project manager motivates everyone, gets to see if everyone is on track or not on track. And this is also when they can actually do something to make things better so that they can achieve their targets in terms of the 3 important things that they should hit that I've mentioned earlier, which is efficiency, timeliness, and quality. Number 4 is monitoring. So now that things are starting to get done and they're moving and people have their own cadence, all they need to do now is to monitor their output and to make sure that nothing breaks in this process. And the last phase would be the closing. So this is when they prepare reports, they prepare a lot of documentation. This is when they can even look back and see, how can we do better? And maybe they can even also do a lot of self-reflection on how they can improve things for the next project. So I would say those 5 phases are really, really like the top responsibility of a project manager. So last part, how can we hire an awesome project manager? So I'll share with you some of our best kept secrets at Proximity Outsourcing. I think we have hired over 200 project managers, mostly for marketing agencies, media buying agencies, and content or social media marketing agencies. Those are kind of the industries that could really make good use of an awesome project manager. So first is you have to know how to hire properly. You have to set your expectations. You have to mention their day-to-day responsibilities. Who are the people that will be collaborating with them? You have to mention that. You have to mention their success metrics. You have to describe what your business is like and what the ideal output looks like. So this all comes at the very, very first step of you hiring this person, writing a really good job description. Honestly, that alone is a skill in itself. Writing a job description is not an easy feat. It takes a lot of years to do correctly and a lot of years to do effectively. And next is it's good for you to also explain the industry that you're in. Definitely hire project managers who have experience in the industry that you're in. So if you're a social media marketing company, then definitely hire a project manager who has worked for a social media marketing company before. And you can also hire from related fields or related agencies. Maybe if you are a very niche agency or a very niche category, like for example, there's tons of like OnlyFans agencies out there. So it may be understandable that you're gonna hire a project manager that does not necessarily have OnlyFans agency experience, but they should have some sort of a marketing agency experience. So there are newer niches coming up. There are newer industries that are popping. And so hiring a project manager with a similar or in a related field would already make sense. My other additional tip would be also think about other related experiences, like the leadership position at maybe their PTA, or if they were a team captain at their volleyball team. So project management ultimately, like, it's a leadership position. And so you look for these signs and you look for these qualities in the person that you're hiring for. That would be my advice. And if someone has experience collaborating with different types of people together, like an event planning experience, wedding planning experience, even doing something for their church, these are experiences, in my opinion, that really stand out in terms of hiring a project manager. And lastly is try to think about the tools that you like in terms of project management. So there's communication tools such as Slack, Google Chat. There are project management tools that are like Asana, Trello, so you can list the tasks on these boards. ClickUp is also very famous. And there are CRMs like High Level, Salesforce. There are other tech that can really add to making project management easy. There's also automations platforms like Zapier, Make. So think about these things too. Think about what you want them to absolutely know, which is like your non-negotiable in terms of a platform or a tech software that they should know when you announce your hiring, your job hiring for a project manager. So if you just follow all of those tips, then it's very likely that you will succeed. But of course, if you are not very good at hiring or recruitment, then that might still pose as a challenge. And when that happens, of course, you know where to go. You can find us at Proximity Outsourcing. We have hired hundreds of project managers over the years. And once we get to talk with you, understand your goals, understand where you're heading in your business, we can make a special complimentary job hiring plan for you. All you need to do is just to approve it. Or if you don't want to work together and you want to DIY it, you can use it as well. What we really want is just to help you out and give you a lot of clarity, because hiring a project manager can definitely make or break your business. So if you're curious, head over to proximityoutsourcing.com, and also don't forget to subscribe and like to learn other tips in growing your online business through outsourcing.